We've got a big update on Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra that paints a pretty rough picture for superhero games in 2025. Rumours swirled from voice actors that this game was targeting a big Christmas release date, which seemed like a match made in heaven given the game's winter setting. Well, that bubble has now been burst, with Skydance confirming on Twitter that the game has been delayed until early 2026. No solid release date, and citing the fact that the game needs more time to polish to create an experience that matches their vision. So as a result, we've got two things to talk about today. That delay and what it means for 1943 Rise of Hydra, and where that leaves us with the current slate of superhero video games and their potential release dates. There's a lot to talk about. We'll start with the fresh news of 1943 Rise of Hydra. Because I'll be honest, I had two scenarios in my head before we got this delay. We either get a big gameplay demo at Summer Games Fest followed by a release date for Christmas or whatever, or the most inevitable at this point, a delay, which is what we got. Given the fact that we've only received two trailers for this game and we are still yet to see any gameplay, 2025 always felt unlikely. Even with all that said, and this delay, I still personally expect to get our first look at gameplay this summer, whether that's in a PlayStation State of Play or Showcase, the Xbox Showcase, or at Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest. It's time for us to see some gameplay of this game, because as a result of no gameplay, it's got to a point in community speculation that what kind of game actually is this? Yes, it's cited as an action-adventure, but is that an action-adventure in the format of a Batman Arkham or a Insomniac Spider-Man, or is it an action-adventure in the format of a Telltale kind of game where you're more pressing buttons for quick-time events and you're making decisions within the story? Given the fact that we have four distinct playable characters here in Cap, Black Panther, the Wakandan Agent, and a soldier, we need to see some gameplay on what kind of game this really is. For as stunning as the visuals of this game look, how are the four different characters going to diversify the gameplay? How are they going to make the soldier as exciting to play as Captain America? Now, we can do a little bit of speculation as to when 1943 Rise of Hydra may release. Given the fact that they've said early 2026, we also know another game that's been pushed out of 2025, GTA 6, that is targeting a May release date now. Now, if I'm a video game publisher or I'm working on a video game, I don't even want to be within a month's radius of GTA 6. So, if it's early, June isn't exactly early, so we're talking probably February or March time. That's what I would like to think. It gives them that extra time to polish, so I would not rule out a February-March date for Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra. Then again, given the ambitious scope of a Rockstar game, it's entirely plausible that GTA 6 gets another delay, so maybe 1943 could slot into that date if it needed it to. But whilst we're on the topic of speculating dates, that brings us to the wider point here. The current slate and schedule for superhero games, and it's looking a little bleak, at least for 2025. Given this news for Rise of Hydra, 2025 leaves us with two things: ongoing updates for Marvel Rivals and Marvel Cosmic Invasion. And don't get me wrong, I love the Temu and tribute games, especially Shredder's Revenge, but it's a pretty focused niche genre in the 2D beat 'em up, and I think that game will be excellent, but I don't think it's going to attract the masses. Now, do we know for sure that Wolverine is not targeting this year and that it might sneak in at the end of 2025? We can't rule it out. We cannot. But at the same time, it really does feel unlikely at this point, and I would more so expect a spin-off game from Insomniac than Wolverine itself. Insomniac has hard carried both the PlayStation 5 generation and superhero games really since 2020. So Wolverine is a big project for them. Let them cook and let it simmer and give it to us when they want to. I really love Spider-Man 2, but it definitely felt like it was a little undercooked at launch. So like I say, I wouldn't rule out a little spin-off game, maybe like a Venom game, but at the same time, we know very little, and those hacks to Insomniac have clearly done some damage and put back some of their slate. So here's my headcanon for where we're at in terms of current superhero games. We're mainly talking Marvel because I'm having a good day, and if I start thinking about WB games, I will no longer be having a good day. So let's talk about it. The dominoes are definitely lining up for a big few years, in the sense that 2026, I would suspect that Rise of Hydra drops early around March, and Wolverine probably a late summer or fall game. 2027, EA Motive's Iron Man, and maybe Spider-Man 3 if it's coming in with a new console, which, Jesus Christ. 2028, Cliffhanger's Black Panther, and maybe Blade. The thing is, that could all change. We could get 3 superhero games in 2026 or 2027. It just depends on how they want to even out the slate. Even if we'd all love to get 3 or 4 superhero games in a year, do they want to spread it out and manage the load and just let them cook that a little bit longer? Of course, there is also an Invincible game in the works somewhere that has been confirmed by Robert Kirkman. And we do have to talk about DC. It looks like we're going to get another Batman game from Rocksteady. Whether that's Arkham or not, I don't know. And I would also suspect that we will be getting some licensed projects from DC as well, but nothing until 2027 at the absolute earliest. It's going to stink for DC in the next couple of years on the games front. But as I say, it's all about the dominoes lining up now. Blade, Iron Man, and Cliffhanger's Black Panther were all announced at the very birth of their projects pretty much. Blade was in development a little bit before announcement, but you have to imagine that given current development cycles of 4, 5, sometimes 6 years, it's going to be a while before we get the majority of those games. But you think about other games in development right now, sequels to some things, I'm still of the opinion we should have got sequels to Midnight Suns and Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's a story for another day. You have to imagine we are going to get some cool projects in the next couple of years. And like I say, it's cool that we do have a live service Marvel game that is successful now with Marvel Rivals that can cash in on the hype of a big Avengers movie or a Fantastic Four movie, even if we as a community do just optimize the fun out of PvP games these days. Personally, I bounced off of it at the end of Season 1. The Battle Pass system is without doubt one of the worst Battle Passes I've ever engaged with. In terms of the quality of the Battle Pass, fantastic. But the progression system of the Battle Pass stinks, mate. And on top of that, I'm just not really the free-to-play guy when half of the content that is hyped up for the game is cosmetics for you to buy. And I'm just not about that. I would rather unlock them or have better price skins. Something more akin to Helldivers where I pay an upfront cost and then I have actually reasonably priced skins. But that's a topic for a whole other video about monetization of free-to-play games. Still though, I'm delighted that people are still enjoying it, and I would definitely be bouncing back when the big Avengers movie comes along or Fantastic Four, but personally, I still want that PvE live service Marvel game, or DC game. We've seen 3 major fails now with Marvel Heroes, Avengers, and Suicide Squad, but I'm still adamant that even amongst all of those, there's something so special in having a PvE game where you can play as your favourite superheroes with your friends, if somebody can get it right. So yeah, 2025 is going to be quiet. Maybe we'll get some Wolverine gameplay and some 1943 gameplay, and then it won't feel too bad because we have something to look at and be engaged with and be excited by. But other than that, Cosmic Invasion, which I believe will be great for the people that want that kind of game. I want that kind of game. But it definitely is missing that heavy hitter, and other than Rivals content, it's going to be a slow year. Whether that's Marvel or DC or just any superhero game front in general. So 2026 is when it feels like we're going to get back to that steady flow again that we had in 2022 and 2023. I'm sure we'll see Insomniac projects. I'm sure we will get updates on EA's Marvel games. And I hope that we do have other projects to be excited about that get announced as well. We finally got a great Marvel movie again with Thunderbolts, and that was fantastic. I'm still cautious about Avengers with Doomsday and Secret Wars, considering how messy all that might feel, even if I'm still excited by the premise of it all. But yeah, and of course we have the Superman movie coming out in July with Fantastic Four as well. So there's a lot to look forward to on the other fronts, and the comic runs that are going on right now are still really good. So we'll just have to be patient and bide our time on the games front and hope for some big reveals in the coming months and years. And I still believe that 2026 and 2027 are going to be really special. So we have that to look forward to. But yeah, let me know, how are you feeling about 1943 Rise of Hydra? What do you want to see from the game? Is it just gameplay? Is it certain sections? Are you curious? Do you think it is going to be an Arkham or Spider-Man inspired game? Or is it going to go that Telltale route? Otherwise, what are you thinking in terms of the future? What game are you most excited for? I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you enjoy watching this video, leaving a like. I can't tell you how much it helps me out in the algorithm battle. It really does. I would appreciate it. And if you don't know by now, comic book games is what we cover around here. News, reviews, guides, streams, whatever it may be, we'll cover it on this channel. So make sure you are subscribed. All my socials are linked in the description down below. Otherwise, I hope you have a terrific day. Play games, get gains, and I will catch you in the next one.